What's going on, lovely people? How are you? Welcome into the show. We're here with Fred and Dre. This is the Flea Flicker Show. Fred, how are you, bud?
Not great. In our last video, we recapped our wins, our losses, and failed to mention it, but did lose. For anyone that tuned in to the first couple weeks there, I made some really bad predictions for this past weekend, and I don't know if I've ever watched football before because my games were not even close. I was 6-10. Not only a losing record, but a terrible record.
Yeah, you lost the game that we picked together too with the
That's
Bills
like
and Jets.
that's a top 10 pick in the draft easily right there. But yeah, so
You look
because
good with
I
the L,
lost, I am repping the L on my forehead in honor of Smash Mouth. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Now, just for clarification, is the L because you had the 6-10, or because you picked the Bills?
Both.
Both.
That's why it's such a
Okay.
large L.
Good enough.
Yeah, that's why it's such a large L.
That's why it's so
Yeah,
big.
yeah.
That makes sense. I had a 9-7 record for anyone that's keeping track, so I did do pretty solid.
It's a wild card.
Tip my hat
Wild
to
card
myself.
break right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, but anyway, hopefully this week can be a lot better, and I won't be rubbing some sort of punishment next week when we
Maybe a
when we
smaller
touch
L.
base. Maybe, we'll see. It's progress, even if it's a smaller L. It's still progress. So, yeah, let's get started. You want to start with the Thursday night game with my Birds, Eagles, Vikings?
Thursday night, baby. Vikings heading into Philly. That's a dangerous spot to go these days. The Eagles' defense is good, and the Vikings' defense isn't as good. So it might not be a great game. I don't know. It depends, because the Vikings still have Jefferson, who is always dangerous. And if he can do anything what like Kendrick Bourne did last week against the Eagles, then Jefferson could go off. The Eagles could be without James Bradberry. He's currently nursing an injury. Nakobe Dean is going to be out as well. And for the Vikings, Garrett Bradbury is day to day. The Eagles, what do you know about Josh Jobe? He's possibly going to be standing in for Bradbury.
Yeah, Joe's pretty solid. Eagles have a good amount of solid young guys. I think he looked really good in the preseason. Obviously, he's not going to be what Bradbury was, but likely what happens is he's going to be on Addison, another young player there, and I do think that's a little bit better of a matchup than having to play against Justin Jefferson. So Jefferson likely is going to get the Slay treatment and be blanketed by him. And if it's anything like last year, Jefferson had an okay day, but not great. I think he finished with like 40-something yards last year, and on a fantasy perspective, only 10 points in fantasy. So if you hold him to 10 points in fantasy, that's a win. But it'll be interesting. It's a primetime game, and Kirk Cousins in primetime is not good. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Last year when they came to Philly, it was not a good outcome, and it's a tough place to play. Very tough place to play. The crowd plays a huge factor, and the team gets after it for the city. So we'll see what can happen, but I'm pulling for my Birds, and I'm picking my Birds.
Yeah, I'm picking the Birds as well. A.J. Brown and Devontae might have a field day, and I'm not even sure if this will be a close game, to be honest. We'll see. It all depends on Jefferson, really, in my eyes.
Yeah, I
So
do
we
agree.
will
I think
see.
the Eagles passing game is going to rebound from that Patriots opening week, and I think they're going to have a great week.
Yeah, let's move off it, though. What do you want to talk about next?
Let's go Raiders-Bills. Go Billies.
Raiders-Bills?
Yeah, Raiders-Bills. Talk to Billies action. Hopefully they can rebound from the Monday night flop. And Raiders were solid last week, but the Bills are just a better team. They should win if they show up. But Allen doesn't usually play shaky 2 games in a row. So expect him to come out strong and expect the Bills to come out hungry.
Yeah, this could be a good game. It really depends. The Bills' defense looks pretty good, so I don't know if Jimmy G and Jacoby Myers are going to be able to pull off quite as well as they did last week.
They did
They
look to
probably won't, to
be
be honest.
susceptible to the run, so you could see some Josh
Yeah.
Jacobs action here.
Yeah, and Jacoby Myers is in concussion protocol as well. That should be noted. Chandler Jones, will he play? That's a big question mark. We're not sure at this time. But yeah, I agree. Josh Allen should be better. He's still got Stephon Diggs. He should be going to work on the Raiders. And we'll see what Jacobs can do as well. Brees Hall looked pretty good against the Bills. Can Jacobs pull that off as well? He's probably not as good as Brees Hall,
Mm.
but I still think he could do better than he did last week.
Yeah, I mean this
So
for us, this is kind of a 607 bowl, right? Because Daquan Jones is with
yes,
the Bills, and Chandler Jones, if he plays, is there with the Raiders, and could see those two guys head up. No relation for them, by the way,
a
but
couple of homeboys.
yeah, but we're gonna have to see those two guys on either end.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills though. I kind of assume you are too.
I
I'm
am
not
as well.
sure.
Yeah, I'm taking the Bills as well, and
Yeah, Marshawn
um,
Lynch, baby.
yeah. What do you want to move on to next? I think that pretty much covers.
All right, let's move ahead. Move on to Atlanta. Packers are heading into Atlanta. This one could be a good game. It really depends. The Packers came out looking pretty good last week. Jordan Love looked like he's their guy. Um, Watson, will he play? Hopefully, he thinks he's going to play. If him and Dobbs are both playing, they're that much more dangerous. And Aaron Jones is also a factor. The Falcons have a lot of weapons that are going to be coming towards them this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this game is one of the better games, one of the underlooked games, though, since neither of these teams are really powerhouses in their conference, well, in the NFC. But I do think it's going to be a very good game. Two young teams. Green Bay has the better QB, and that's ultimately what it comes down to for me. Love looked really good last week. Ritter did not.
Mhm.
If
Yep.
Watson comes back as well, I mean, he did what he did last week without his number one option, and if he's there, I think he's going to tear apart this defense. I don't think the Falcons have a very good defense at all.
Yeah.
The running backs for the Falcons should do some work against the Packers there, but they can only do so much. Packers look to be a pretty complete team. If Aaron Jones
Yeah.
can play, he will also likely have a big day against the Falcons, but it'll be interesting to see if he can suit up or not. Either way, AJ
It
Dillon's
looks like
not a
he will
bad
be able
backup.
to. Yeah, as of right now, it looks like Aaron Jones should be playing. Obviously, that's in flux, so we'll see. But I think he will be playing. Yeah, Algier and Bijan, like you said, they could go off in this game. But honestly, it just comes to the Packers look dangerous and the Falcons look kind of flat last
Yeah,
week, other than Algier and Bijan. So I'm taking the Packers for sure.
completely agree. We're on the same page there. I'll move on to Ravens Bengals. This should be another really good game.
Yeah, I agree. I like what both teams. Well, I don't like what the Bengals put on paper last week, but I like what they have and what they should be putting on. But yeah, this is an in division game. It's a rivalry. They always put out a show, so this should be a good one. A lot of this is going to depend on two things. One thing for each team. The Ravens have a lot of injuries. Can they push through those injuries? And the Bengals, can they push through that bad loss last week? Can Joe Burrow come back from one of the worst games of his career last week and put on a show against the Baltimore Ravens? And they got a pretty good D. So can they do it?
Yeah, I agree there. The Ravens played very well last week. Granted, a lot of it may be kind of a false promise there. They did play the Houston Texans, and there's a lot to look at with the Houston Texans and a young team really searching for an identity on offense, especially. And they may have made the Ravens D a little bit inflated than it is. So Bengals, I don't really anticipate Burrow coming out and having a showing like that 2 games in a row. He
No.
holds himself to a higher standard than that, and he's really going to come out, and you got to imagine he's come out strong. And no Dobbins for the Bengals, it's going to be a factor.
Dobbins
It's going
out
to
for
be a
the year.
factor in what they can do. So definitely looking to see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see if Zay Flowers can put on a show in this one. He looked pretty good in the first game. Let's see if Lamar, if they could, Bengals can stop him. Some of the Ravens' injuries, though, J.K. Dobbins out for the year. Marcus Williams is going to be out for the next few weeks at least. Marlon Humphrey and Mark Andrews are both questionable. They're at least hoping Mark Andrews can go. Marlon Humphrey, though, they want him out there. We'll see. And then Stanley and Linderbaum on the O line are also both questionable for this game. So, like I said, a lot of injuries. Can they push through all this? I got the Bengals taking this. I think they're going to come back and show who they are.
I also have the Bengals. They're going to be at home. Really have them coming out strong and flipping the narrative from last week.
All right, let's move to Detroit. We got the Seahawks heading into the Lions' den. This could be a good game. The Seahawks kind of came out flat last week, and the Lions came out nasty against the Chiefs. But I still think the Seahawks are a good team. So I still think this should be a good game. Jared Goff looked really good last week. We'll see if he can keep it up against the Seahawks. Um, Montgomery and Gibbs were a good 1-2 punch. We'll see if they give Gibbs more carries in this one. I think they're probably taking it slow with him because he's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
And then Josh Reynolds and St. Brown for the Lions both looked good last game too. The Seahawks got a lot of work to do with these weapons that are going to come for them in this game. And the Lions' defense is no slouch either. It's a really solid put together team. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I do think kind of to play off the latter part of what you said there, I do think the Lions' defense is much improved from last year. I mean, they held down the Chiefs, even with a Chiefs receiving core that is depleted like it was. It's still tough to stop Patty Mahomes, and they were able to do that, holding him at bay. But I do think the Seahawks just have too many receiving weapons, and the Lions did leave a lot of receivers open last week that just didn't capitalize. That week could have gone a lot differently if those receivers were able to just secure even half of their drop passes. And the Seahawks are a team that's not going to do that. Lockett's going to secure his catches. Metcalf is going to secure them. And same with their rookie there, Smith Njigba.
Yeah, JSN.
Smith
Njigba.
Njigba. I like JSN better.
Yeah, JSN.
JSN's a little bit quicker off the tongue. So, but I do think their three receivers are more sure-handed and are going to play a huge factor in the game. And I have the Seahawks coming out on top in this one.
Okay, yeah. So one thing about the Seahawks, though, they do have a few injuries from last week. Cross and Lucas on their O-line are both injured and questionable at the moment. They're hoping they get Devon Witherspoon back, the rookie. He's part of their plan, so they really want him back for this Lions game. They're looking to sign possibly Jason Peters, to play tackle for him. You're very knowledgeable about Peters, old guy. And then Tyler Lockett also had an injury in the last game, so we'll see. He should be able to suit up, but we're not entirely sure at the moment. But I actually have the Lions taking this one, so we're splitting it this one.
Splitting this one, so we finally got one, but it should be a good game nonetheless. And let's move on to the next game on our slate. Game here. What about Chiefs Jags? Should be a solid game. There's some good games this week.
Yeah, Chiefs Jags. That should be a good game. I'm pretty pumped to see this one. Both teams come with their questions. The Chiefs, obviously, they hope Kelsey can come back for this game. He's still questionable at the moment. He is going to be big if he can come back. Their main target, and they really need him. And then Chris Jones, like you said last video, he's going to be back. That's big for their defense. This game, though. Let's see what they can do against the Jags. The Jags came out slow last week, so if they come out slow against the Chiefs, that could be bad for them because the Chiefs, they don't hold back if you fall behind.
No, not at all. Patty Mahomes will take advantage of every opportunity he gets, and you better be damn sure that Andy Reid and Mahomes are in the ear of all those receivers to really get them to work and understand the importance and not have the same drops that they had last week. And you got to expect that's going to change. None of those receivers should have a very long leash. So, but I mean, it should be a good game. I think Patty Mahomes is phenomenal. He's going to keep that in the game regardless of who's back there. I mean, you and I could be back there at receiver, and he'll probably keep us in the game. So, I do think I do have Jags coming on top in this game. I'm a ride the high with them, and I think Doug Peterson will. He's a good coach, and Andy Reid is as well. But I just think they're a more complete team at this moment than what the Chiefs are right now. I can really see the Chiefs stumbling out the block here in the first few games, and the Jags look pretty strong, but they should have playoff implications in this game.
Yeah, the Chiefs really need one of their receivers to step up. Like, will Tony have a better game? Will he step up? Maybe Sky Moore. He didn't look all that great last game. I think Rashee Rice might be the guy. What's that?
Rice looked solid last week.
Rashee Rice?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Rashee Rice. I think he's going to be the guy that steps up for him at receiver. To be honest, and then the Jags, Ridley and Etienne both look like dangerous weapons, so they might have trouble with them. Brandon Scherf, their guard, went down with an injury. We'll see if he can play. But ultimately, I'm still going with the Chiefs. I'm still riding with them. If Kelsey misses the game, I might switch off, but
it'll be too late.
I still think I might pick the Chiefs. I just trust them. And the Jags came out looking slow. The Jags could take it, but yeah, I got the Chiefs.
All right, we're splitting that one again. Who do you want to move to next?
Let's move to the Houston. We got the Colts going into Houston, divisional game. A couple rookie quarterbacks making their first ever start against each other in the NFL. This could be a fun one. It could go either way. Richardson and C.J. Stroud. We'll see what they can do. Richardson looked pretty dangerous last week, and C.J. Stroud was like up and down, trying to figure out the NFL still. So it really, to me, depends on which one of them can come out and look like they play football and which one struggles.
Yeah, for me, it was
Richardson to Pittman, though.
It was really just about, again, those quarterbacks, whether it's Richardson or Stroud, each week until they have some consistency, I think it's really taken with a grain of salt. They're both learning. They're both, with Richardson's mobility, he's going to have some productive games where he might not be the best quarterback per se, similar to Justin Fields, still relevant in terms of production, but is the on-field result really there? I do think that their offense is capped. Without Jonathan Taylor, I think that what they can do offensively is capped. The Texans,
I agree.
Texans defense, it's not a very bad defense. Granted, they did lose last week to the Ravens pretty handedly, but I mean the Ravens are far better than what the Colts are. So I mean I think the Texans have an underrated defense. I think they're going to be able to do enough, and this one really was a toss-up for me because it could go either way. You don't know who's going to show up, but I went with the Texans. I just like Stroud long-term. I think he's a very good quarterback, and I don't think last week was indicative of who he really is.
Yeah, one thing about the Texans defense, like they can be decent. They did lose both safeties though. Jimmy Ward is still questionable. He missed last game, and then Jalen Petrie got hurt in this game. So they could be without both of their starting safeties. But one big difference is that they have Dameon Pierce and the Colts have no running back. Yeah. Richardson to Pittman could be good. One thing about Richardson too, he took some big shots last game. He looks like he still thinks he's in college and he can just run around and take shots. That's a dangerous game to play in the NFL. And after the game, Trevor Lawrence said to him, "Hey, man, you're in the NFL now. You got to be careful." So, yeah, like you said, though, this could go either way. I ultimately also went with the Texans, though.
Yeah, we don't need a repeat of RG3 where he took the league by storm, and then because he was running reckless abandon in the league, he ended up getting taken out and was never the same after that. So hopefully it doesn't happen to Richardson. He's a rare talent and would love to see him pan out, and he's just got to be a little bit more careful out there.
Yeah, I agree. Who do you want to move to next?
Yeah, let's go Chargers Titans. This is an interesting game. Titans are able to, if they can get Henry going, they're in any game. Granted, they're a team that is also a little bit capped because of the quarterback. Tannehill is not going to set the world on fire. He has a good amount of weapons there with D-Hop and with Burks, but I just don't think the Titans are in the same league as the Chargers. I don't think they can
Yeah.
slow down their offense enough to keep up. And the Chargers are likely going to have a chip on their shoulder after losing that close game last week against the Dolphins, and they're another team that's going to come out firing on all cylinders. This is a game where it could be like 32-24, and the Titans put up more points than people expect them to, but they just can't slow down the Chargers.
Yeah, I think personally, yeah, I like Derrick Henry, but with the O line being as terrible as it is, I think really the Titans' only saving grace in this is that their defense is good. Questionable, but they're good. They're solid. I think their only shot is if their defense can slow down the Chargers' offense, which is going to be very hard because, they have Justin Herbert, who's a menace. They have Allen and Williams catching passes, plus the rookie. Don't forget about him. And then Josh Kelly and Austin Eckler look really good. I don't think the Titans are going to be able to stop them. Eckler is questionable with an ankle injury, so we will follow that. It could be Josh Kelly leading them, but I'm still comfortable with that.
Yeah, they have too many weapons.
Personally think,
even their number 4 receiver, which is Josh Palmer, and he's still solid.
Yeah, even he's
they
good.
have a lot of weapons at receiver and are too much to handle.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers. I personally think this might be a bloodbath, to be honest. I don't know if the Titans are going to be able to do anything. We'll see, but yeah, I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah. On to the next game here. What do you want to go?
Let's go. Bears are heading into Tampa. Let's head to that with them. This could be a close game. It really depends on each team and how they come out. Both of these kind of have streaky quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, like we covered last week, or last video, Baker Mayfield was pretty good in the second half, but the first half he was rough because that's who he is. And if he comes out swinging in this game with Evans and Godwin, who's to say they won't take this game by storm in the first quarter? I don't know. They also need to get Rachaad White going, though. He didn't really show up last game, and they really need a running game to help out with that pass.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think this can be a very messy game. Both quarterbacks leave a lot to be desired in terms of their game management. You can easily see a Baker backslide here to where he comes back down to earth and has a terrible game. You can see him come out and throw for 300 and light the world on fire. So it's really, what are you going to get from Baker and what are you going to get from Fields? Is he going to connect with his receivers? I think he's going to put up some rushing yardage regardless. He's always a guy that can push for 75 to 100 rushing yards as a quarterback, which is insane.
Yeah, dangerous.
But can he connect with his receivers? If he can connect with his receivers, which he should. I mean, the Vikings last week were able to throw seemingly all day on the Bucs, even though the score wasn't indicative of what they were able to do offensively. They just weren't able to get in the end zone. And if the Bears can do anything close to that, with being, in my mind, a better rushing team and capitalize using Rashawn Johnson there as well, the up and coming rookie, and I think they can take this one, they can steal this one, and really any team. I don't even know if there's a favorite in this game. Like, I have the Bears,
I don't
but
know
I'm not
if
confident in the Bears. I'm not confident in any team in this game.
Yeah, you can't be confident in either of these guys. One thing about Rashawn Johnson, I will say, a lot of his tread last week was in like garbage time, basically. But either way, he looked really good when he was out there, and I think he could be a guy for him. So I'll be watching him in this game. But I did end up taking the Bucs just because I because I trust their receivers a little more than I trust anyone on the Bears. That's basically what it came down to.
Yeah, I
you
don't think that's a wrong outcome there, and I don't think that's a bad outlook for you. So, really a toss up in that game, and we'll see what happens. Though, it should be exciting though.
Who did you end up picking though?
I picked the Bears. The Bears.
Oh, okay, another split.
Yeah,
another split.
We're getting into some splits here. We started off on in unison, but we're going splitting here. Let's move on to your boys. Let's move on to the Giants. Giants, Cards. This should be a rebound game for them.
Oh God, I hope so.
But it definitely is a must-win game. I think if the Giants do not win this game, then it's a bad outlook on the rest of the season for them. So they better come in strong and they better come in hungry because if they don't come away with a win and a commanding win, I think it's a bad look.
Yeah, that's one thing I wrote down actually. I wrote Giants comeback must destroy Cardinals. Because honestly, the Cardinals are one of the least talented teams in the league right now. If the Giants show up with a dud in this one, how are they going to beat anybody?
Yeah, they don't have too many guys. They got Marquise Brown, they have Connor, they have what's their Buda Baker, who doesn't even want to play there. He wants out. So yeah, they're not a very solid team. You guys should come away with this, even despite the loss you suffered on Sunday night last week. But I just think you're the better team.
A lot of this is going to come down to the Giants O line, to be honest, because the Cardinals and Giants defense both played better than their record showed better than the score showed last week. So I'm not too worried about either defense for this one, but it comes down to the Giants O-line. We lost Andrew Thomas and his backup Matt Pert at a last game, and if we don't even have a tackle on the roster to start, if both of them miss, hopefully Andrew Thomas plays.
Jason Peters, man.
Oh God,
he can barely move. So he's
he's better than what we decent. Got. Like if the Giants O-line struggles, then it could be a long year for the Giants.
Agree. But I took you guys.
Hopefully Darren Waller can pull something.
I took the Giants in this game. I just think it's a game that they can't lose. And if it's a team that can't lose, you never want to bet against them. So I took the Giants.
I also took the Giants, obviously. Cardinals, Josh Dobbs, he looked like trash, kind of. Maybe they can get James Conner going, but I don't know. I took the Giants.
Yeah,
let's move.
We want to go 49ers?
Let's move to the 49ers going into LA, taking on the Rams. The Rams looked surprisingly good last week, but the 49ers looked like they could be the best team in the league last week. So this could be a really good game. It really depends on how the Rams come out. Both of them dropped 30 points last week, slinging the ball. The 49ers D is suffocating, so that'll be something to watch for in this game. Matt Stafford, though, he looked really good last week. He looked like the same guy that won the Super Bowl, and that was without Cooper Kupp. I think losing Cooper Kupp might have actually opened his eyes to like other receivers on the field, because he found Puka and Tutu, which are great names. Yeah. He found them both for over 100 yards. So this could be a fun game, but I also don't fully trust the Rams yet. So we'll see how this goes. What do you think about this?
Yeah, one? I mean, the young guys on the Rams, Karen Williams, Tutu, Puka, they were very exciting, and it was great to see them show out with Stafford there, being the gunslinger that he is, and they should be a fun team this year. A lot more fun than I really thought they would be, but especially with Cooper Kupp out, and I don't see them doing much of anything against the 49ers. I don't see the Rams stopping the 49ers at all. They do not have the defense to stop that offense. The 49ers defense is probably the best in the league in terms of like what you're looking at, up and down. They might not have the biggest names at safety and corner, but they're very good. They're very complete, and their pass rush is keeps them in any game. Look at last year with the Eagles. I mean, even the pass rush the Eagles provided was a record-setting pass rush. Kept that secondary and improved the secondary dramatically. If you can get to the quarterback, you can cause problems, and the Rams just aren't going to be able to stop Nick Bosa and company. So I have the 49ers taking this, and I think it's going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Like, even if Donald can shut down the middle for Christian McCaffrey, McCaffrey can still go outside. He can still catch passes all over the place. I still got Ayuk, who looked like a transformed receiver last week. So I don't know if it's going to be a bloodbath.
Kittle, they have weapons all over the place, and
weapons everywhere.
You can't even honestly, you can probably count the defense as a weapon on offense because, I mean, the chances that they can get a turnover on Stafford, he's not very mobile at this point in his career, and the pass rush they can provide might cost some errant throws and cost some interceptions. So, I think the 49ers run away with this one.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be a bloodbath, but I agree. I think the Niners are going to dominate this game, so I'm taking the Niners as well. Let's move off this, though. Let's head to Dallas. They looked really good last week. Can they look that good against a much better defense and better team in general?
Yeah.
The New York Jets.
Yeah, so for this one, it's a little iffy. There's no Rodgers for the Jets, so if they're going in with Zach Wilson, that offense is not going to be very good. It's going to be how much can they run, and if they can establish the run, they can win the game because that defense can slow down and certainly stop the Cowboys. That defense for the Jets is right up there with the 49ers as one of the best in the league, and the 1-2 punch that they have at corner can certainly slow down both Cooks and CD. So I think this is a game the Jets can steal with, even with Zach Wilson at quarterback. But it pains me to say it, but I got to go with the Cowboys in this. I don't really have faith in the Jets pulling off wins against really good teams with Zach Wilson at the helm.
I see. I get what you're saying. Yeah, Zach Wilson, huge question mark, obviously. I think they'll make up a few more plays than we saw last week against the Bills, but still, he's a big question mark. Both of these defenses, though, are very good. If the Wilson-to-Wilson connection can get off the ground, the Jets might have something. And they also have Breece Hall, who looked really good last week. Yeah, and Dalvin Cook.
Have both those running backs. Man.
I think
that's insane.
Yeah, it is insane. It's ridiculous. I think this is going to be a very defensive game. The Cowboys scored 40 points last week. I do not think it's going to be like that again.
Be lucky if 40 points are scored between both teams in this game.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, I don't think both teams combined are going to get to 40 in this one. It's going to be a defensive slog. It's going to be a running back game, I think. So really, it comes down to Pollard versus Breece Hall in my eyes. And I'm taking Breece Hall all day in that matchup, so I'm taking the Jets.
There you go. Another split there, and honestly, it will give me an L, but I hope it's the Jets. I mean, yeah. I don't want the Cowboys to win. I don't want them to be one game closer in the division. So,
if they can get Wilson to throw some turnovers, though, the Cowboys are taking it.
Yeah, and especially if it goes the way it did against the Giants, if they throw some turnovers and they're taken to the house, they're putting the Cowboys in a good field position to execute. There's not really much you can do.
I think Dak's going to have a rough game too, though.
I agree that it's going to be defensive and down to the running backs, and this is another game I think could go either way, and not because both teams are just going to be airing it out and having fun like Dolphins Chargers last week. It'll probably be a pretty ugly either way.
Yeah. Let's move off, though. I guess the last one before the Sunday night matchup, the Commanders are heading into Denver. What can you tell me about that one?
Yeah, I think this should be a decent game. The Commanders are a better team than people let on. They have a good defense, good offensive weapons. It really comes down to what Sam Howell can do, and I think the coaching situation for the Broncos is far better than what the coaching situation is for Washington. And Sean Payton is...
I like Riverboat Ron.
Riverboat Ron. Sean Payton he's a great coach.
He's a legend.
I think he throughout the season, you're just going to see continuous improvement from Russ and the team. It really comes down to who's healthy for the Broncos. If they have a decent receiving core going out, I think they can win this. But I actually have this one coming out as the Commandos. I think it was last minute change for me, but I had Broncos, and if they're not healthy, if they don't have Judy, if they don't have Dulcich, I think people are just going to key on Sutton, and there's not really too much that they can do. Mims is pretty good, but he's a rookie, and Williams struggled to get hit the ground running last week. I don't see him doing too much more against the Commanders, who have a good front. So I'm taking the Commanders in this, kind of edging out the win, not in a dominating fashion by any means, but edging it out.
Yeah, it's definitely a pick your poison type game. Like you said, the Broncos they do have a lot of injuries. Will Jerry Jeudy be playing? Dolchik is questionable. Safety Caden Stearns out, but can Russ be good in this game with Sean Payton? The Commanders have a solid defense. They are missing Chase Young. They don't expect him to be in this game either, so that's going to help them out. But I think a lot of this will come down to how Sam Howell is going to look in this game too. He was very up and down last week, and what can he do against this team this week?
Yeah, the first week's tough.
I'm hoping Scary Terry can get something going.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping Terry can get something going, and Dotson as well. I know the first week is really tough, especially for rookie quarterbacks. But I mean, they got, imagine the jitters that are coming out with your first game in the NFL.
And Howell's basically a rookie.
Yeah, he's basically a rookie. He sat all last year and he had one game. So a young player really getting that promotion and saying the organization saying you're our guy, we're riding with you, and this is your first game in that situation. You got to imagine that there's some jitters there.
Yeah. Ultimately, I'm also taking the Commanders, though. I still believe in Scary Terry, and I think Sam Howell's going to get something going in this one, and Broncos have too many injuries.
Awesome.
So I'm taking the Commandos.
Yeah, same page there with the injuries.
That takes us to Sunday night, though, baby.
Sunday night.
Dolphins, Patriots, Lambeau? What? No. Oh, my God. Dolphins, Patriots, Foxborough. There we go.
Foxborough.
This could be a good game. It could be fun. The Patriots offense looked alive last week, and the defense is solid. The Dolphins looked way more alive, though. They looked like the best offense possibly in the game. I don't know.
Electric. The Dolphins last week, I mean, if they show up like that against that every week, I don't know who's stopping that offense. But
nobody.
The Pats last week were surprisingly pretty good against Philly, and they showed a lot of fight clawing back in that game after having the big deficit early on, and they held the Philadelphia offense at bay, and that's a pretty damn good offense. So, I mean, if they can slow down, really it comes down to Tyreek Hill. Can you slow him down? If you can slow Tyreek down, you slow the whole offense down, and you stand a shot.
Jalen Waddle's no slouch, though, either on the other side.
He's great. But he's not the world beater that Tyreek Hill is. Tyreek Hill may be the best receiver in the NFL. He's at least top 3.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah, so,
he's one of the best.
I mean, I don't think Tua is going to come out with the same showing he did last week and look like the best QB in the league. I think he still has a good game, though, and I do think the Dolphins perform pretty well, and I have the Dolphins coming out on top in this one.
Yeah, I like that. I think this is going to be an explosive matchup. I'm actually taking this one as my game of the week. I think both teams might be able to push past 30, and it's going to be a really fun watch. Mac Jones to Kendrick Bourne, watch out for that one again. I think Stevenson's going to get going on the Pats offense this time around, and the Dolphins, like you said, they got Tua going to Reek. They got Tua going to Waddle. Raheem Mostert was getting going. So I think it's going to be a dangerous game. Pat's defense might be able to slow them down a little, but ultimately, I think Tyreek's going to make that one play that just takes it. And I'm taking the Dolphins as well.
There we go. And we are moving on to Monday night.
Monday. All right, so Fred, what times are they playing? You said they're an hour apart?
Yeah, the games are an hour and apart. You have the 7:15 game, which is Saints Panthers, and you have the 8:15 game, which is Steelers and Cleveland.
All right, let's start with the first game then. Saints are heading into Carolina, taking on the Panthers. That'll be an interesting game. You talked up the Saints a little bit last time. What do you think about them now?
I mean, for Saints Panthers, I think I'm going Saints. They're a far more complete team. Derek Carr is an established quarterback. Bryce Young is a rookie, and the team looked really shaky last week against a worse
Yeah.
defense than what they're facing this week, and against a worse offense than what they're facing this week. Especially as the season goes on, you imagine that there's going to be more chemistry that is there between Carr and with Olave, with Thomas. I just think the weapons there are too tough to beat, and I have the Saints coming on top in this one, and I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah, I agree with you. The only shot that the Panthers have in my eyes is if Bryce Young can get something going, because he looked a little rough last week, and then maybe if Brian Burns can make a play or two on defense to help him out. But ultimately, yeah, I agree with you. I don't think there's too much to talk about in this one. Derek Carr, Olave. I think Jamal Williams is probably going to get going a little bit in this one. And the Saints' defense is just that much better as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm taking the Saints for
Yeah,
sure,
I do have
too.
Jamal Williams
Steamroll.
as being a performer this week as well, and yeah, we're on the same page for that. But if you want to, let's move on to the second game of the Monday night slate, and I hope this is the game that the Manning cast is doing, because this is the game I'd probably prefer to watch. So
Yeah, I think they'd pick this one for sure.
I think they're pretty entertaining and a lot better to watch than the talking heads that are usually on Monday Night Football. So
Yeah.
having those guys do this game, I think will be good. It's will be a great game. Cleveland and Pittsburgh. It's two teams
In Pittsburgh.
in Pittsburgh. It's Pittsburgh definitely wants to show out from that terrible showing that they had in San Francisco, and I think their offense is going to be a lot better than it was last week. I don't think Cleveland's defense is going to be, while they are a good defense, top 10 probably, I don't think that they are close in the same stratosphere as what the 49ers are.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'd say it's probably going to be a pretty close game. I think both offenses are going to do enough, and what do you think?
Well, I would agree with you. These games are always pretty close. This is a division that every single game seems to come down to like the wire, basically. Very, very aggressive teams. The Steelers, though, they need to play a lot better than they did last week. Like you said, that was against the 49ers defense, so well, we hope to see them do better now. But they did incur some injuries in that unfortunate week also. Okorafor and Daniels on the O-line both went down. They're not sure if they're going to have either of them. Freiermuth had a chest injury. I think he's going to play, but we're not sure currently. And then Deontay Johnson is probably going to miss this game.
That's the big one.
So that means
He's
they're going to have
expected
to
miss a few
That
weeks.
is the big
so
one.
That's the big one.
Yeah, so
You got to have George
Robinson.
Pickens step up. George Pickens has to be that number one guy that a lot of people think he can be. I personally think he can be. He has a world of talent, and Allen Robinson looked a little bit better last week than he did all last season. So it'll be a tough
Yeah.
matchup, and the key's really going to be, can Pittsburgh slow down Nick Chubb?
Yeah, I agree. Pickett to Pickens is one that I'm looking for this year. Last week it wasn't really there, but I do think it will show up. But Allen Robinson, I think a lot is falling on his shoulders. He was the most targeted wideout last week, and if he can show up, then that makes them a little more dangerous. And then Najee wasn't anywhere last week either. The 49ers shut him down, so hopefully he can get something going. The Steelers' defense also lost Cam Hayward, which is that's kind of a big loss in the middle there. That just makes Nick Chubb's job that much easier. So I think Chubb might have a really good game here. And the Browns have Myles Garrett. He's a badass in the back. So the Steelers are going to have to deal with him. The Browns did lose Tyler Conklin, though. That's one bad thing about that. He's one of their starting tackles. He's out for the year now. I think they had a rookie step in to take his spot. I don't know if that's going to be something to look for. Deshaun Watson might be nervous about that.
Who do you who do you have in this?
I actually think Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb's going to go wild in this one, and I'm taking the Browns actually. So we're splitting on this one.
Yeah, I didn't even give my pick yet, but yeah, I'm kind of leaning Pittsburgh.
Oh, I thought you said Steelers.
I want Pittsburgh to win it, and there's still a lot of questions with the Browns. The identity of the Browns is the run game, and you got to imagine that Tomlin's going to gear in on that and make Deshaun Watson beat them. Can I pick a tie? I don't know. I'm really torn on this game, but I'm going Steelers.
So we did split on this
Yeah,
one. Okay,
yeah.
cool. So I don't know. Is this Monday night game? Is this the one you want to pick for me for the Browns? Oh God, I don't like the sound of that though.
Yeah, I think this is the one we pick.
But I
Me for the
think this would be
Browns,
the
me
one.
for me for Pittsburgh. So we'll see if it's an L on your forehead or what it is next week. But if Pittsburgh comes out on top, then you gotta do something.
That I do, and we'll see what that would be. But since the Browns are probably going to win, we'll just have a smaller L on your forehead, right?
We'll see.
But yeah, it was fun, Fred. It was fun catching up and talking about football again. Please, if you guys like this video, like, comment, subscribe. Fred, can you tell us where they can find us?
Yeah, you can find us obviously on YouTube right here, or you can check out our podcast over on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts. So feel free to check us out and take a listen.
All right. Appreciate it, everybody. Fred, peace out, buddy.
Deuces.